Right.
AI kind of lets me do that because I can create models or AI employees or agents or personas, whatever we want to call them, that will help that employee do twice as much work, amplifying their skill and experience. And now that employee is more valuable to me, so it's good for them, and they're able to get more work done, provide more value. Everybody wins across the board.
Okay, Jonathan, it's great having you here today, and I'm excited to hear what you have to tell us about AI. You're one of the thought leaders in the area right now. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing with us a little bit of your backstory, just how you got involved with AI and where exactly you came from.
Sure, no, I'd be happy to. Well, first, let me say thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm excited to be here and chat about it. As you know, I love talking about AI. A little bit of my background. So I started a digital marketing agency back in 2010. And after a couple of years of doing that, realized I needed some help. And so I ended up bringing my wife in, and together with a team of anywhere from about 8 to 15, depending upon where we were at in our journey, we grew that agency up to 7 figures. Had a great time, kind of reinvented ourselves in COVID after we'd done well, but found out that project work was really hard. So we decided to get into a monthly recurring revenue model where we provided services on that basis instead of just on a project. Rebuilt the agency back to 7 figures. Had great time, and then started learning probably towards the end of 2022 that my ADD visionary characteristics didn't necessarily always align well with the needs of the company. As we were growing and getting bigger, our processes were that much more important. And while I knew our processes were important and we were, we did a great job of putting them in place, I'll admit I've never seen a rule that I didn't want to bend. And I did a lot of that. And that ended up causing some problems on occasion with our team. And they were very gracious. But last year we said, hey, I really got into AI and was getting excited about it. And the team kind of said, hey, Jonathan, you've been talking about possibly going off and, starting a new venture. This might be a great time because you won't mess us up as much anymore and you can go have some fun. So I'm probably over dramatizing it a bit, but I stepped away from that agency last summer, in summer of 2023, and decided really to get focused on helping people understand how they can leverage AI in their day-to-day lives. I've seen so many fear mongers and so many people worried about it. And then on the other end, I've seen people that AI can do anything. Neither are a good position in my mind. And so now I'm really blessed, Bob, to be in a situation where I get to work with businesses and their teams, helping them figure out how can we leverage AI. And our goal typically is 3 things. Let's save some time each day. Let's use that to provide better value to our clients and our customers that we're serving. And in the process, let's make a few extra dollars along the way. And the really cool thing about it is you and I have both been around the block more than once. And it's the first time in my life, Bob, where there's been a technology out there that allows us to do as businesses all 3 things: save time, make money, and deliver more value at the same time. And I think that's just super exciting.
Yeah, and that I like your philosophy: create the value, and money will come, right? So
absolutely
focused on that for our customers, and really for society. Will be rewarded, to whatever level, so to speak. So, and I've been following you all over, Facebook, all over the socials, podcast, and everything else, and there's a lot of thought leaders on AI, but I think you have the most balanced, level-headed, approach to it versus, like you said, the 2 extremes. The sky is falling, and there's gold in them there hills, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and I try again. Being I guess a quintessential ADD entrepreneur. One of the things I've loved about AI is just the fact that it allows me to get things done faster. Now, sometimes that means I fail faster, but that's okay because then I can move on to the next thing. And I think there's a lot of business leaders and entrepreneurs that, diagnosed or undiagnosed, have those ADD characteristics. And AI just is a tool that allows us to amplify our skill and experience, to be able to save time, to be able to implement quickly. And then the really exciting thing for me is helping our teams out, because that's really where the businesses can see such massive productivity increases and massive value from AI. It's one thing if I can save myself even an hour a day, that's cool.
Right.
But what if, even if I have a small team of 5 or 10 people, if I could save them 30 minutes a day, now all of a sudden I'm not saving me an hour a day of more productivity, but let's say on a team of 10 at half hour a day, I'll just save 5 hours a day. That's 25 hours a week. That's 100 plus hours every month that we're adding back into our efficiencies. And that doesn't necessarily just have to mean we do more work. Maybe it means we have a better balance at work, because now for the first time we don't have more to do at the end of the day than we have time, or whatever, however that balance works out. And so that's where I get really excited about working not only with the business leaders but also with their teams, because you can see some really huge productivity breakthroughs there.
It's crazy, what it can do. Like you said, I mean, it's just making AI can make your life better. You just gotta figure out where to take the pain away from your customer and for yourself, right?
Exactly.
So, well, I kind of want to follow a little bit of an outline here on some of the things we talked about pre-podcast in terms of, I see your expertise on the prompting side and a term we call AI framework. I just wanted to jump into that aspect in terms of, how do you approach it? Like, in terms of creating prompts, generating, the right types of responses.
Sure.
Is there kind of, framework or prompting 101 that you kind of want to get into a little bit?
No, I'd love to. I think one of the things that we all run into as business leaders is, as soon as we start looking at AI, we start getting pop-up messages in social media. We start getting email messages. We start getting bombarded with all of these prompt lists that we can buy. If whether you're in the mortgage business or you're in the IT business or you're in the marketing business, doesn't matter. You start into that, and all of a sudden, it's like, here's 784 prompts that every roofer needs to know, or 372 prompts that every marketer needs to use. And while I get the theory and the excitement behind those, I think those are a huge waste of time and money, because generally, Bob, if a prompt is specifically good for you, it's probably not going to be specifically good for me, and I'm going to have to make changes. Not to mention, let's just say on the lower end, I think the lowest one I saw in the last 7 days was 387 prompts. If I've got a list of 387 prompts I want to look through every time I'm trying to find something, right, it's going to take me longer to find the prompt than it would have been just to do the job.
Right.
So I like to teach people a framework. And the framework I recommend is I call the perfect prompting framework. And it's a simple 4-step process that you can use to ask AI virtually any question and get a really good, solid response out of it. And so that's really where I focus. And those steps are simple. It's number one, we tell it the type of expert that it is. So if we're creating an SOP for our HR department, we let it know it's a HR expert who specializes in writing standard operating procedures. We then give it context. We tell it about our business. We tell it about our audience, who it is that we're creating this for, and what the objective is. And then we ask our question. And that third step, the question, is generally, Bob, what most people put in as a prompt. Something like, I need to write an SOP for my team to do the following. But they don't give it any background or anything else. And then the fourth step, which really changes the results more than anything else, is giving permission to the AI in the last step to ask clarifying questions. And we simply end it by saying, ask me any questions you have. Because without adding that, AI is taught to make assumptions. And a lot of times that means we get crummy responses back.
Yeah.
But when we give it permission to say, hey, I probably forgot to give you some information, ask me those things you need to know. AI has a checklist for almost any question that it can look at, because it's been trained on every book and every library. So if I ask it to create an SOP for, again, my holiday time off posting, whatever I'm going to be doing, it can do that, and it knows the information it needs. But if I don't give it to that, it's going to fill in the blanks with assumptions. And a lot of times those assumptions won't correspond to what I do in my life. And so by giving it permission to ask me questions, it can then say, Jonathan, that's great, but I really need these 3 additional pieces of information. When I do that, I get a much, much better response.
Yeah, that's interesting because, I got to probably classify myself as ADD, and basically the biggest, I struggle in a lot of areas, but probably the biggest area I struggle in is communication. Communication requires you to slow down, which I don't want to do.
Yeah, amen to that. I'm with you.
And this is an amazing exercise because from what I'm hearing, that last piece is a critical communication piece. If there's anything I had left out, please feel free to ask. And
exactly.
In my world, it's like, get it done versus take time to communicate, answer questions. And your framework is perfect in that area. It makes sense.
Well, the nice thing about it is being like you, I want to get things done, but I also know that it's going to take me more time if I don't give it enough information. And so it's kind of a good balancing point. I'm now not having to spend a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to give as far as information, because I know that AI can ask me the questions that it needs in order to fill the blanks in. The real benefit, again, like you can probably relate somebody that may have those ADD characteristics, is I don't have to worry about chit-chatting about it. AI is going to literally come back and go, here's the 3 pieces of information that I need to give you a great response. And as a guy with ADD, it means I can go, oh, cool, I've got that information. And I now didn't need to think about it up front. I didn't need to worry about chit-chatting or talking to somebody that was going to go round robin to get to where we wanted to go. Have you ever been in one of those? You're like, would you just get to the point? AI gets to the point right away. Yeah. And so it's still a very efficient process, and one that I, as an ADD brain, can still wrap my arms around and go, okay, this is still saving me a lot of time.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. It also causes me to reflect on how I worked with people. And I think there's a few people saying amen right
Well, and that's it. We save those people the hassle because we get to talk to AI instead of having to talk to them and drive them crazy.
Okay, well, and this is kind of where the rubber meets the road, because AI, everybody's has been excited about it, and it's obviously the buzz everywhere you turn. You can't help but open your Facebook or your socials, and there's somebody has some AI solution to something. So is there examples? I'm just reading off my notes here, but examples businesses can integrate AI into their daily operations to save time, boost profits, obviously add value. Obviously, there's the main tools. Can you speak to that a little bit in terms of what you're seeing?
Yeah. So one of the things we recommend when businesses are getting started is keep it simple. The old keep it simple, stupid. If you're familiar with that KISS framework, we want to, and not I'm saying nobody's stupid, but keep it simple. Don't chase every latest tool and don't chase every latest glitzy thing. Start with a tool like ChatGPT. It's one of the primary tools that's out there. It is very good at doing a lot of different things. And when you're getting started, it's all you probably need. And the beauty of that is you can go ahead and get started with that and start learning how to do it. And I recommend most businesses take some of those tasks that, especially maybe as business leaders, we know we should do more of, but we don't want to. Great example for me is typically emails. There's always emails that I have in my inbox that I know I should spend more time going through and responding to, but I'm in a hurry. And I've got stuff to do today. So I throw together a quick response and we call it good and we go from there. Use that AI for that. So imagine being able to take that email, go to ChatGPT, say, here's an email I just got from Bob. I want to respond and say the following, help me. And it will literally craft an amazing email for you that will respond, giving what you've asked for. And then you simply make a couple quick edits, and I take that so-so email response that may make you go, man, Jonathan, I don't think you took the time for me. And in actually less time or no more time, create a much better response that can allow you as the recipient to go, wow, he really took time to answer that. I did. I pasted it in the ChatGPT, I edited it, and I press send. So, that's a great way to start. There's a gazillion tools out there. And again, I really just recommend people start with ChatGPT. And then after they start using it, then they can start looking at other tools. But the reality is most of those other tools that are out there are just a fancy wrapper on top of ChatGPT that costs more money. So why not start with the basic, use that prompting framework, and you're off to the races.
Excellent. Yeah, that's to me that, and right away my head's going to ADD, employees or agents that could literally take your email and help you with that, right? But then ultimately get to know Joe Bag of Donuts, who's been going back and forth with you about donuts, and begin to, learn and then learn how to do the responses, be a little more intuitive.
Yes,
I would
absolutely.
assume, right? That it could get to that point.
Well, and that's something we hadn't really talked about yet, but we can train AI, and we should train AI to reflect who we are. And that can be as simple as taking a personality test, such as, a Myers-Briggs or a Colby, probably getting Kirby Bates or whatever, a Colby test, whatever, any of those, a DISC test. We can then feed that information from that personality test into ChatGPT or any of the other models. And so when I'm responding to an email, I'm in, for example, on Myers-Briggs, I'm an ENTJ. So I can just simply say, respond as an ENTJ. And ChatGPT knows so much about that personality profile that it's going to adjust the writing and the response to reflect that as an ENTJ might do so. And it's going to make it seem so much more like me. And we've done that literally with putting 4 letters in place.
Yeah, no, I'd love that. And I want to talk a little bit more on training, because
sure.
Again, being more of that AD mindset, when I bring on a new employee, I miss, that's not my strength. I train to the task. Once I see they're good, I kind of let them go, and I don't come back and retrain, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So,
I think we've all been there.
Yeah. So to that degree, I think we all want that magical pill with AI, where now it's the big buzzword right now is AI agents, which in AI employees, they're not the same, I know, but the big marketing spin is AI employees, which is effectively
correct.
Just, an AI application, so to speak. But it is a good phrase, because it gets the business owner in the mindset of, okay, employees need to be trained, and no employee is going to do exactly what you want for at least 90 to 180 days, right?
Absolutely.
If you've done your job right. So can you speak to the training piece, and what is the mindset that you need to have as we go through this in terms of those applications?
Really, in my mind, there's 2 types of training. So there's the basic training that we want to do to teach ChatGPT how it is that we respond, basically to our tone, our style, our brand, that type of things. Super easy to do, but also important, so that when we're creating content, whether that's an email or an SOP or even a social media post, that it reflects our tone and style. On the AI employee side, what we're really doing, and again, there's so many terms that get thrown around, like you mentioned, there's agents and personas and you name it. Essentially, what we're doing is we're just training a custom version of the AI model, often referred to as a custom GPT, with data that helps it do things that we want it to do. Just this morning, I created one to help me create courses. I do AI courses and through the process, we've went through a couple of different iterations, and I essentially hired and trained a new employee this morning. I say employee in air quotes probably, but it's a custom AI model that's now been trained on the best practices in how to create an online course, the best way to follow the style that I want, which is a storytelling style, be trained in how to take an entire course and through multiple lessons, tell a story of that literally builds on itself, so that as the people are taking the course, they're not hearing about Bob and then Amy and then Sally and then Frank but they're hearing about, okay, Bob and his business did this, and it literally carries throughout the whole lesson. So there was training involved in that, and that training took hours to do, many hours to do. But the benefit now is that tool is available to both me and my team. I'm not replacing any team members, but my team can now use that. So my video production crew is able to go in, and when I say, all right, here's the lesson, here's what we're doing, I need a video script so that I can record that. Or maybe we can have AI record it. They can go in, and I know that they're going to be able to get a response that is aligned with the goals and objectives that I have, following the methodologies that I want, so that it's not like I've got this rogue employee doing something totally different over here when I really wanted to go in this direction.
Right.
And those AI employees, I want to caution people, while it's a great concept and it's buzzworthy, everybody, oh yeah, I want to do that. It's like having an employee that AI employee needs attention, just like an employee that you hire. You made the example. If I bring on a new, let's say I bring on a new video editor, I'm just talking about that right now. So we bring on a new video editor. If I don't teach them how I want videos created, if I don't teach them my brand and my style, if I don't teach them those basics about my organization, who we serve and all that, that video editor may be very talented, but is likely not going to be able to figure out and deliver what I want because I never trained them. And if every day goes by and I never have a stand-up meeting with this employee, and I never tell them what's on the agenda that I want done, and I never say, hey, let's do some additional training in these areas, that employee isn't going to be a lot of value. And the AI employee is the same thing. Much like another employee, if we don't manage that AI employee, it's going to sit there at its desk all day long and do nothing.
Yeah, no, it's a whole nother level. I mean, it's got a double-edged sword, right? Because we want to get involved with AI to help our employees, but now we're adding more employees. So it's like, but the payoff is worth it, obviously.
The key in my mind is that if we keep in mind that the AI should be used to amplify skill and experience, that means we can use it to amplify our skill and experience, but we can also use it to amplify our team's skill and experience. So again, maybe I can take that team member of mine that does a great job, but I'd love to essentially replicate them. And boy, if I could clone you, Bob, that'd be great because I need 2 or 3 of you.
Right.
AI kind of lets me do that because I can create models or AI employees or agents or personas, whatever we want to call them, that will help that employee do twice as much work, amplifying their skill and experience. And now that employee is more valuable to me. So it's good for them. And they're able to get more work done, provide more value. Everybody wins across the board.
Yeah. Well, and what I wanted to do was shift gears. Do you have any examples, that you can, case studies or anything like that you're aware of that, people kind of are using AI? Because I feel the big deal in small business now. Larger businesses with a lot of capital that can invest and have been investing in AI for probably 5-10 years now, because they have a bigger payoff. I mean, are you seeing for small business AI is starting to take traction in certain areas? And where are those areas specifically? I mean,
I think there's a couple different areas where I see it. Obviously, with my marketing background, AI is a great fit for marketing agencies to be using just because it can help with that. But it's a good fit for anybody. I don't care whether you're a roofer or you're a chiropractor, an IT company. There's so many areas you can use AI. And what I recommend, and where we probably see the biggest gain, is in sitting down with businesses and helping identify what are those things that your team's doing every week or every month that are repetitive.
Right.
What are those repetitive tasks? For example, maybe I get a sales report that comes in every Friday, and the sales manager is opening up that sales report, working through that report, trying to get the right numbers for the Monday morning management meeting to put everything together. What about if instead of having the sales manager, who's very highly skilled and needs to be leading our sales team, instead of having them do that data analysis, how about if we send that report over to ChatGPT? We teach it how we want it to use that data, what data we want, and we now have it create that dashboard summary report for the sales manager that he needs for his Monday morning meeting. The data is still there if he needs, or she as the sales manager needs to dig into that, but they don't now need to take 2 hours or even 30 minutes, whatever time that takes every week, to put that together. The same could be done in our customer service. We can take a look at all of our customer service responses. And instead of one by one going through and going, okay, happy, 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 oh, unhappy, what happened here? Right. AI can go through all of that and diagnose that and then give us alerts. We've got a client right now that's using AI. They have live callers or live call staff, customer service and that. And what's happening is they're not live. AI is not live listening to the calls, but those calls are being transcribed as they're happening. So when the operator hangs up, the sentiment analysis has already been done by AI on the transcript of that call. Was the caller happy? Was the caller unhappy? Whatever the case may be. Last night I called Comcast, for example, to cancel some service. And in typical Comcast fashion, Comcast made it a difficult process to do, to say the least.
Yeah.
But at the end of the call, the person on the call said, "Did I solve your problem today?" "Yes, you did." "Did I make this process easy?" "No, but it got it done." I answered all the questions because I wanted to get off the call.
Right.
But had you listened to me throughout the call as they tried to sell me new updates, at one point, Bob, I love it. They even said, "Well, we're moving, so that's why we're canceling. So we can't take it with us." And they said, "Would you happen to know a friend or family that would like to take advantage of your discount?" And I said, "Discount? You already told me I'm on the full price plan. What are you talking about?" Of course, that part of the call never gets to anybody in management. I know nobody at Comcast is ever going to listen to that.
Right.
But if they had AI that was actually now rating the sentiment of that call, literally within seconds of that call being done, a call center manager could be looking at that and going, "Okay, hang on. We had a frustrated user here. This should have been really simple." Now, Comcast will never do this because I don't think they care. I'm sorry.
No,
Soapbox.
no.
Okay. Remember, I'm the guy that believes if we want to solve the drug problem in America, all we need to do is put Comcast customer service in charge of distribution, and we won't have a drug problem. So again, I've got a little soapbox when it comes to Comcast. Sorry, I know that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But again, we're using AI in situations like that to evaluate that. And now imagine that call center manager could immediately go, "Okay, over the course of tonight, we ended up not with one caller like that, but we ended up with 487 callers out of 500 callers that were like that." And then AI can actually analyze that and identify the trends. What was it? What was happening when the user just got frustrated and said, "Could you just please do what I want?" And they go, "Oh, it was the 715th time we tried to save the call." And so then management can learn, or sales managers, call whoever, and we can help train our employees to do a better job, better serve our clients. We don't have the capacity to do that in real time now because we need so many humans to do it. It wouldn't be practical. But if we can leverage AI, we can do those things. So that's just one of many, many examples that could be used. But any type of analysis like that, AI can do effectively and really, really quickly, so that we can do that. We've got one client right now that's looking at doing it on their second level help desk for actually identifying calls in progress that need a manager to step in.
Okay.
So instead of the customer having to go, I'm ticked off. Can I talk to a manager? That a manager could literally hop onto a call and go, "Hey, Bob, I got a notice that you're a little frustrated with our process here. What can I do to help? I'm a manager." Imagine how that customer is going to feel in a proactive environment like that.
That's brilliant, because so if we're describing this, there's a human operator, right?
Yep.
And obviously there's a client on the other line, and AI is monitoring the conversation for escalation in terms of customer. And to your point, it just auto routes to the manager. And obviously if that software comes out, it's going to probably escalate too many calls or no calls, obviously, just like, we talked about.
There's a tuning process that we go through. Absolutely.
Right. And, but absolutely brilliant. And I'm just trying to get a handle on the landscape, because there's small business out there, and if you're if you're at church on Sunday and you're preaching to all small businesses, and what are you saying? Like, okay, if you're a small business, let's say, and you're a business owner and you have 8 employees, good idea to go home, at night and hang out on ChatGPT, just get a feel for this technology, what it's capable of doing, and then try to implement, as you can. But is there a middle ground for, let's say, medium-sized businesses where you're saying, okay, you are the sharpest person in this company. You are now the AI czar. Your job is to figure out how to use AI in ways to make our company more efficient, profitable, everything else. I mean, what would what would you tell the landscape of business today, how to approach AI? Because we're going to be selling AI tools in the future as an agency.
Absolutely.
But the last thing you want to do is get educated by a salesperson, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I mean, not that all salespeople are bad, but
no, I've made a living doing that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And we're going to have tools, and we're going to design, quick and easy tools that you can throw into small business to solve problems. So, I just kind of went around in a circle there, but what would you advise? What would you preach to small business? How to approach this?
Yeah. For small businesses, I think a lot of it, again, is where we recommend starting. And most businesses do one of two things, Bob. They either go, I want to do it all today, which is not practical, or they go, that ostrich over there, I like that. I'm going to stick my head in the sand, and I'm assuming next year AI won't be a thing. That's also not a really good plan in my mind to take, because I don't think that's going to happen. So I think, your idea in almost any business, you're going to find somebody in your organization who is drawn to the AI technology, that thinks it's cool and gets it. It's kind of like when we first, you and I probably can think back and remember when they put PCs on our desktops. And I was actually just getting into the workforce as you were at that point in time. And but I heard people going, you know what? I'm not giving up my typewriter. I'm not giving up my adding machine. Right. I don't care that I can do a word processor. And for a while that worked. But then all of a sudden what happened is, we started going, man, Sally, she does okay on the typewriter, but on a word processor, oh my goodness, we're not retyping documents. We can edit things. We can pull them up. We can use a document we sent to Bob and now send it over to Sam and just make a couple quick changes. It became a huge productivity thing. And in that process, some of our team members said, this PC stuff, this is cool. And they became our go-to person for every time there was a problem with the computer. Yeah. And I think that same thing's going to happen with AI in every company out there, small or medium. And obviously a big company, they've already hired people to do that. But a small company in particular, you're going to find somebody on your team. And what's going to happen is they're going to use AI if you allow them to, and don't stop them from doing it. They're going to use it to save themselves time. And they're now going to have time to help you do things in your business that you hadn't thought possible. And I encourage you as a business owner, if that's not you, if you're not the one that's excited, that's okay. Start opening it up to your clients. Spend the $20 a month and give them a ChatGPT Pro account. I know some people are like, well, I don't want to spend $20 a month. If I've got 10 employees, that's $200 a month. At normal rates here in the US, that's not a whole lot of hours we need to save in order to cover that $200. No. Okay. And you'll find out really quickly, somebody's going to stand up and you're going to be going, man, all of a sudden I noticed Sam, he's talking to more people. He's more relaxed. He's got more time. Sam, what are you doing? Oh man, I'm using that ChatGPT stuff and I'm saving lots of time. Well, Sam, could you show Sally how to do that? Could you maybe talk to our team on what you're doing? And of course they love that. And so they're going to start sharing. And I think you're going to find, and again, in those organizations, you're going to find somebody that's going to get it and they're going to then help you implement it. The key as a business owner, I want to really instill is, I want you to be guiding that ship. You don't have to be the advocate, but I want you the one to be guiding it to, one, empower your team to use the tools. Right. Number two, to give them guidance in the fact that, okay, we're not going to buy every flashy tool that comes out, but let's figure out how we can do this with ChatGPT. And then if in 90 days we need a flashy tool, let's talk about it in 90 days, but let's not get caught in this, squirrel, bright, shiny object syndrome and spend all kinds of money. Yeah. Because you can do that. And I believe in that process, Bobby, that the average, even small business with maybe just even a solopreneur is going to find the amount of time they can save. I talked to a roofer the other day as an example, and it's just him and some contractors. He doesn't have any staff members. And one of the things that he really struggles with is he may be up on a roof when a phone call comes in, but he knows he's only got 5 minutes to respond, probably less than that, or that call is going to go to the next person on their Google list. Right. And so instead of implementing like an AI bot, what he's done is he's implemented a missed call text back system. And you're probably familiar with that. Yeah. And so if he doesn't answer the call, he's now immediately having his system text that customer back. And you go, well, hang on, what if they're calling from a home phone? Nobody has home phones anymore. It's almost always mobile phones. And it's saying, sorry, I missed your call. This is Jonathan. I'm up on a roof right now, but I really want to take care of you. Can you let me know what you need? And now that individual, in probably 80+% of the time, is going to go, oh, I don't have to call the next person on my list because I just got a message.
Right.
And they're going to go, I got a leak. I need some help. Here's where it gets really exciting. An AI bot can read that message and go, great. As I mentioned, I'm up on a roof, but I'm going to have Sam, my AI agent, help you a moment. Give me a few more details. And that AI bot literally will take over and go, great. Can you tell me where you're located? Can you tell me what's going on? It's not going to provide any solutions. It's just going to ask questions to make that homeowner, that business owner, feel that they can check that off. They've contacted a roofer and somebody's going to do with it. And they end by scheduling an appointment.
Right.
Well, you and I both know it's as easy. It's as easy as connecting to your Google Calendar and going, okay, I can have Tom out there next week, Monday. Will that work for you? How about 9 a.m.? And boom, it adds it to the calendar. This is all happening for less than $200 a month.
Right.
And now, and it's not something that had to be custom coded. This is super easy. And now this is real practical value to that roofer, because he doesn't have to stress the next time the phone rings and he's on a ladder, because he knows that customer is going to get a text in less than 5 seconds. And that in all likelihood, most of the time, he's going to have a new appointment pop up in about 15 minutes on his calendar that says that he's got a new meet for them. And if it doesn't work out, then that AI bot can say, it does sound like you need to talk to Tom after all. And it can schedule a time to have Tom call them back. And now Tom's got 3 calls at the end of the day instead of 37 at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I mean, I'm excited about that. I just know that alone is going to help, a lot of customers, and there are good prepackaged AI tools like that.
Absolutely. There's tons of little solutions like that again are not very expensive, that literally you can give your company information and you can give it your link to your Google Calendar or whatever, and a couple little things like that, and probably 30 minutes be set up so that you're ready to go. Is it perfect? No, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's probably, I guess, where I'd like to leave the recommendation for the business owner. Don't try to be perfect out of the gate. Just try to be good. Provide better service to your customers and your prospects, and they'll start flocking to you because you made it easy.
Right. And the nice thing about that tool, I'm somewhat familiar with it, but I own a couple of businesses. So if one of them closes Saturday at 3 and doesn't open again until Monday at 10, and in that course of time, it gets 20 calls. And of those 20 calls, 3 people leave a voicemail, because most people want some kind of interaction, and they don't want to hit the voicemail. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And AI answers and creates that interaction. To your point, you could potentially, if you just get 1 or 2 of those as customers, that $200 is more than covered in the course of those new customers. So
absolutely.
Pretty exciting. How does this work in your personal life? Obviously, this is part of your business, but how are you using AI in your personal life? What kind of personal task? I mean, you talk about email. Are there other tasks that you're using AI? Are you writing love letters to your wife using AI? I mean, how are you using it?
Great question. There's a lot of things I use it for, because it's really just become part of what I do on a day-to-day basis. But, an example is I really try to live a life of gratitude and give thanks to things. And I'm not always good about remembering to send my kids text messages, some who are at home and some who are not, or telling my wife how much I appreciate the fact that she does all the things that I don't even think about anymore, and they just get done around the house. And I've used AI to help me with that. And so, for example, for me, every Sunday afternoon, I take a moment and I have it help me, based upon that week, create a text message that I can send to my family members. It's not one, it's individualized for them. And people go, well, that's not very genuine. I go, no, I thought of it. I'm giving it the information. I instead of going, man, I need to text my daughter-in-law. What do I want to say? And then something happens and I don't do it. Now it's getting done and I'm building that relationship. Another way I used it is my youngest is 17 and he's very much into Dungeons and Dragons. I know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons, but he loves it and he plays it with a group and regularly. And so the other day I had to go pick him up. I had the vehicle instead of him. And so I had to go pick him up. And on the way over, I thought, I'd really like to have a better discussion with him about this. So I literally used my phone, used the voice mode on ChatGPT. I asked it some questions about Dungeons and Dragons. And I said, look, I'm a dad. I'm 55. I know nothing about this. My kid's 17. He plays it all the time. I'm going to pick him up. I'm going to have about 20 minutes in the car with him. How can I start a discussion with him about D&D that'll get him talking, that'll let him know that I care? And can you give me just enough information so that I don't look like a total noob?
Right.
And it did. And literally he got in the car and, we did the typical, how was it? And of course he's 17. So I got fine. And I'm going to have a good time. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, and he's ready to pull his phone out, as happens all the time. He wasn't in a bad mood, but he's 17.
Yeah.
And I took what ChatGPT had given me as a starter question and I asked him. And the most amazing thing happened, Bob. He put his phone down and he looked at me and he goes, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just curious about this. And we drove all the way home, about 25 minutes. And never once did he pick up his phone again because we talked about D&D. And it was him talking to me about it, but I knew just enough. And it was funny because as we're pulling in the driveway, he said, hey, Dad, did you ask ChatGPT about this? So you knew this? And I guess I sure did. And he laughed and thought it was awesome. He wasn't upset because I used ChatGPT. He was thrilled. He even came home and told Mom and my wife, you won't believe what Dad used ChatGPT for. And it was so cool.
Yeah.
Because he thought it was amazing that I cared enough, which I of course do as his dad, to have that conversation. But again, those are things that I'm not going to go buy a D&D book and try to read it just because my ADD, I'm never going to get through it.
Yeah.
But I had that ability in the 20-minute drive over there to learn what I needed to do, to ask him a couple quick questions. And instead of, driving me listening to my audiobook and him on his phone and, not listening to what I'm saying, we actually had a father-son conversation and we had a great time.
Well, and that just goes to where your heart is, right? So, it's the spirit of how you use it. And it goes back to, let's say, money. Is money evil? No, it's what you do with it, right?
Exactly.
So if your heart's in the right place, and this might be a good topic on ethics that, for the next time you're on, that we talk about ethics in AI and in terms of that, what you just said was the best tip of this whole conversation. It's just
awesome.
Literally,
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, just literally sitting down and starting out with being grateful. And there's a lot of times I think we sit down and life is busy. It has a lot of demands. It has a lot of stress. It's really hard to be grateful. But maybe if you sit down and you have that grateful conversation with ChatGPT and you work on, because I struggle with the same challenges as a father as well. My kids are home from college for holiday break. And we're all in our phones. We're all in our own little worlds. And, they've been gone for 4 months. What the heck? What the heck? I should be engaging. And engaging is tough. And
it is.
But if you work on it, just like you're working on your gratitude in your heart, and you ask, those hard questions of ChatGPT, but you give it a lot of good knowledge, good information on your son or daughter, hopefully that draws you closer to them in one form or the other. And who cares if you use ChatGPT? Who cares if you use $5,000 to buy woodworking equipment so you guys are doing woodworking together or whatever the case is?
Absolutely. Yeah. If it develops that relationship, it's so worth it. It's one of the best investments you can make. Yeah.
No, on that is just a great point to end on, Jonathan. I know you're very busy today. It sounds like you have 3 or 4 more podcasts and webinars you're going to have to do today. Hang in there, man. I hope your voice holds up.
We'll do our best. Yes.
And I hope to have you on soon. I'd love to have you on regularly, and we'll be seeing you on Facebook. How do we find you? How do we get a hold of you? You've got some exciting courses. So if any of you are stuck like me, you're definitely going to want to look Jonathan up. And he's got some great courses, great communities. Let's talk about that before you leave. Would you mind?
Yeah, not at all. No, if you want to connect, just go to JonathanMast.com. That's JonathanMast.com/Linktree. And it'll give you links on how to connect with me, my free Facebook group. We've got over 310,000 entrepreneurs in there learning about AI and AI prompting every day. All kinds of resources that are available, some free, some paid. But yeah, head out there, jonathanmast.com/linktree.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, we look forward to connecting again. Hang in there. I know have a great holiday season, and we'll be getting together soon.
Sounds good, Bob. Have a Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Bye now.